anything's not working. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to D&D&D&D&D or Digital Dungeons D5 Campaign 2, Black Ink and Blue Blood. When we last left off, the party having arrived at the city of Perha to find their goblin contact transformed into a horrifying ichor beast. They slayed the goblin and rifled through his possessions before parting ways into the city. Zephyr, the kobold rogue, began to scope out what appeared to be the city of Perha's treasury for the guards. And when a distraction came in the form of a fire at the graveyard that Lucian, the elfish wizard, or just mage in general, had been investigating, Zephyr slipped away from the rest of the party to conduct his personal heist with the guards distracted. Gil and Lucian met at the graveyard as skeletons of the buried dead in the tar pits of Pyrrha's graveyard began to rise from the tar. Sorry, background noise. A massive amalgamation of bones and tar rose from the pits, and Gil, throwing a torch at it in the hopes of burning it, merely set the beast on fire without harming it. You two are now confronting the Burning Tarbone, while Zephyr, the kobold rogue, investigates the treasury. Zephyr, we will pick up with you.
All right.
As the fire and battle rage in the distance, you find yourself in front of a relatively plain stone building, but you know from the large presence of guards constantly funneling in and out of it throughout the day that it definitely is a source of interest to them. You have guessed that it is likely the treasury, although you do not know the specifics of that, nor do you know for certain that that is actually the case.
Yeah.
What would you like to do?
Well, I would like to scope out. I know that's most of the guards. I don't know if that's all the guards are away, so I'm gonna try to at least get a good scope of the land, see if I can see if there's any scragglers.
All right, make me an investigation check.
Okay. Do it on my can. Investigation. That will be 17.
All right. You searched around the stone building, careful not to draw attention to yourself. You can make an additional stealth check if you want. Do you want to stealth it, or are you just more focused on investigating?
Uh, well, I mean, hmm, I'll just simply just investigate it for now.
Sorry about that. Pop-ups, a lot of distractions. Sorry.
Yeah.
Um, I deliberately clear everything, and then a bunch of crap pops up all at once. Don't worry, everything seems to have mellowed out now. Don't worry, everything's fine on my end. Like I said, it's just background stuff. Investigating the building, you find a small, slightly on the dusty side window, and peeking through it, you see an empty office. But peering through the dimly lit only by the slightly dying light of a lantern in the back of the room, you see that the room is not occupied by any people, but you do see a large tropical bird in a cage that appears to be preening its feathers, and a large, gently breathing mass of fur, but it seems to be slightly behind the desk, so you cannot make out from this angle what it actually is. But those two seem to be the only life forms in the building.
Life form. Well, with most of the guards kind of away, I don't know much about this bird, and I'm guessing the bird's more of a alarm. I don't know about this fur, but what I have that could help me. That could help. He's going to try to sneak in.
All right. Make me a stealth check.
Yes, stealth. Ooh, that will be a 22. Yeah, 22.
All right. You sneak back around to the front door, give it a gentle nudge, and find that, as the guards had likely left in a hurry, it is unlocked. And you gently push the door open and slip your way into the office, letting the door gently glide shut behind you without making a sound. Uh, now that you're in the office proper, you get a better look. The tropical bird is what is known as a Gigi bird, a large tropical, almost parrot-like creature capable of imitating speech. The large mass of fur you are now essentially staring directly at, although it appears to still be asleep and has not noticed you, a large, slumbering, pale white warg.
Hmm.
And you notice something you had not been able to see through the window. Behind the desk, you see a hallway leading behind the desk into the rest of the building. The only other things you see in the room are the desk itself, currently with a seemingly hastily abandoned chess game. And those are, at least at a glance, the only things that catch your interest.
You know what? I'm going to do the most heinous crime yet. I'm going to rearrange that chessboard so it's just going to be so confusing when they get back.
Oh my god, that's so bad.
All right. Since you already rolled a good stealth check for getting in here, I'll let you reuse it for this. You just switch the chess pieces around. And are you proficient in chess kits? That is a proficiency, so it'll say if
Well,
you're proficient in chess.
not chess
I am.
kits. I'm proficient in dice sets.
Yeah, as I said, I am.
Well, Gil, if you were present here, you would notice that Zephyr is putting the pieces in places where they shouldn't even be able to actually access in a normal game of chess. Uh,
Yeah.
This pleases me.
you would assume that whenever those players return, they may assume the other person had been cheating.
All right.
What else would you like to do?
I leave because my mission's complete here now. No. I kind of hopefully sneak past the two animals to go in the other room.
Make me a stealth check.
Right, come on, dice. Oof. 9.
All right, double checking. Um, uh, as you gently kind of try to side skirt the sleeping warg, you notice its breathing kind of like kind of quicken a tad bit from its slumbering pace, and you hear a lumbering growl emerge from the fat, hunched back, furry shape.
Hmm. All right. Let's see here. I've killed and I guess first things first. I'm gonna try to just quickly get more distance away from the animal.
Okay. Do you want to head back towards the door or towards the
I'm gonna,
hallway?
I'm gonna continue where I was going, just more quickly since I they might wake up or they're already awake.
Yeah, well, they're waking up. I'll tell you what, make me another stealth check to see if you can hide before it completely wakes up.
Natural 20.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
As you slink back into the hallway, looking around in a slight panic as the warg begins to slowly, you get the impression this creature does not it's not exactly a fighting dog. Like it's fat and kind of slow. And as you kind of uh, slide into the hallway, you see the entrance of a large vault, and at the foot of that vault is a dirt and uh, um, what's the word? Compost flower bed. And thinking quickly, you dive into the flower bed and use your cobalt tail to kind of cover yourself slightly with some of the dirt and compost. And as you see, the large fat canine kind of steps into the hallway and kind of looks around with narrowed, kind of droopy eyes, and looks around carefully. Its eyes go across where you're hiding, and you can see it sniffing before it just gives a and it sneezes before slowly turning and exiting the hallway, and you can hear the sound of it laying back down where it originally.
All right. Now that he's gone, I'm gonna proceed to this nicely contained vault and try to open it.
As you step up from the flower bed and turn to see the vault you had been hiding under, you see it is shaped like one of those big like bank vaults, like big steel door with the tumbler, but on either side of the tumbler you see a keyhole. So two keyholes, one on each side.
I guess can I try to pickpocket one of the keyholes?
Do you have thieves tools?
Yes, and I have proficiency.
Go for it.
Is there any modifiers to it?
I believe it's dexterity for thieves tools in addition to proficiency.
Okay, so +2 plus 5, and then that would be a 12.
All right. You stand up and start to dig the lockpick into the lock, and feeling your way around it, you can immediately tell that it's a fairly tricky, intricate lock. And as you find a grip on one of the internal mechanisms and press down on it, you hear a sound from the flower bed next to you, a kind of whipping sound. What's your AC?
My AC 14.
You take 6 piercing damage as a thorny vine from the flower bed emerges and rakes you across the back.
Hmm.
And just a moment. Sorry, pulling up the relevant stats. And you feel yourself getting forced down to the ground as the vine ties around your stomach and seems to be intent on trapping you to the floor of the flower bed.
Bye, Zephyr. You're a goner.
Hold on. Trying to figure out some stuff is screwy, but so I take 6 damage.
Yeah, 6 piercing damage, and you are currently being pulled to the floor.
Hmm. Can I see what's pulling me to the floor?
Looking down, you see that it is many of the flowers in this flower bed are roses, and one of the roses is basically growing its thorny stem to act as a whip to wrap around you. It seems that this flower bed is enchanted to act as a security mechanism for this vault.
Okay, well, I guess I pull out my dagger and I try to cut the bed or the flower.
Roll for it.
Right. Oof. That would be not good. 8.
You swing your dagger around, but like as you cut through one part of the vine, 2 more parts of it just swirl around you to replace it. You're basically being hugged to the floor. It's not trying to pull you down into the ground, it's just holding you there.
Hmm. Alrighty then. I would like to do something.
Go for it.
Probably gonna kill me, but you know what? Screw it.
Screw it.
I'm Let's try to put it on fire.
Okay. What do you have to set it on
I have
fire?
oil.
Okay, so remember, it is wrapped, so this will damage you because it's wrapped around you.
I get that, and I don't have a lot of HP,
Yeah.
but you
No,
know.
just making sure you're aware. All right. I mean, since it's on you and you're just dumping oil on yourself, and I presume you have something to.
What?
Do you have something? Did I cut out?
Kind of like near the end, like something to something.
Oh, do you have something to ignite it with?
I think I have a tinker, right? Or let's see, tinker
If you have
box.
oil, you should have something to ignite.
Flint
You should have a
and
tinder box.
steel?
Yeah, or a tinder box or something.
I have a tinder box.
Okay, that'll work. All right, make me a dexterity saving throw.
All right, I'm good at that. All right. Ooh, yeah, I'm good at that. All right. That'd be 22 again.
All right. Thinking quickly, you dump the oil on yourself and pull out your tinderbox. You light, and fire immediately begins to consume the flower bed. And just as the vines loose their grip on you, not necessarily in reaction to the fire, but just as the fire burns them away, you pull yourself out of the tangle of thorns. It hurts a bit as the thorns prick you as you're pulling yourself free, but you manage to avoid being seriously hurt by the fire. However, you do see the flower bed is beginning to burn, and smoke is beginning to fill the hallway.
Yes, and then two others. Yes. Hmm. Trying to find a good spot. Um. I guess. I want in this vault. It's what I want.
I want it.
I want it. But you know what? Let's go for another try, and on the other pick.
All right. Bear in mind the flower bed at the foot of the vault is still burning. Do you want to wait for the fire to go out, or are you gonna put it out, or you're just gonna deal with it?
All right. Question is, if I put it out, will the flower bed still be alive?
As some dear friends of mine like to say, fuck around and find out.
Yeah. You know what? Let's not do that. Let's just make sure. I'm gonna just slice this flower bed to pieces.
Okay. Taking a few seconds to just stab your dagger into the flower bed as if in revenge for it swatting you. The flower bed begins to crumble to ash and cinders. However, as the smoke begins to just consume the interior of the building, even as the fire goes out, as its source of fuel begins to dissipate, you hear the panic squawks of the bird and the warg barking loudly in a very booming noise before you hear the sound of the door flying open and footsteps running out the door.
Out the door. And I investigate what's going on.
By all means.
Alright.
As you exit the hallway, you look and see the bird still squawking in a panic and the warg nowhere to be seen. The door slammed shut as if it had been forced open suddenly and left to close on its own.
I see what's going on. So I have a time limit, I see. Well, let's get picking then.
All right. Make me another Thieves' Tools check.
Slightly better. That would be a 14.
All right. You take another crack at the lock you had just attempted before, and just kind of stare down at the burnt remains of the flowers, just to be on the safe side. But as you find that first mechanism without trouble and continue from there, and eventually you hear a click and a rattling sound from the inside of the tumbler. One lock down.
All right, let's go to the next one, Glenn. Gotta go
Make me
fast.
another thieves tools check.
Use this one. Why not? Ooh, yeah, that's good. 19.
All right. Now that you know how the mechanisms of these doors work, you almost effortlessly click, 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 and you hear the last mechanism give way.
All right, I'm going to open up this vault only to see nothing.
Yeah, after all that. I hope the two of you spectating are still enjoying yourselves. Like I said, I just want to get
Oh
through this
yeah,
segment before the boss
I'm
fight.
having fun with this, but he better grab some pretty good shit for the rest of us too.
All right, Zephyr, you give the tumbler a quick swing, not bothering to be stealthy or graceful, as you know you're on a time crunch. And as the door swings open and you kind of quickly usher it along, you see the inside of the vault. You do not see gold. You do not see treasure. You see a grassy field. And immediately in front of you, you see a chemistry lab with burning chemicals still active. Nearest to your left, you see a chest open with a pile of swords inside. And looking around, you see just a bunch of research and scientific equipment, most of which is the purpose of which escapes you, but you can recognize the tools of science at a glance.
What? So nothing valuable is what I'm saying. Alright. Well, I've already come this way, and that creature did half my life, so I guess I'm gonna just take something. I mean, might as well grab something while I already did all this work.
All right. Anything in particular you want to look at?
I guess the only thing you said swords, chest.
Yeah, so it's a bunch of swords in a chest, a chemistry lab, and just some other scientific equipment. That's all you can see at a glance, anyway.
Yes, I'll see about taking some chemicals or if they
Okay.
need to be some useful.
So you step onto the field, and sure enough, it feels like grass, freshly watered even, under your feet as you tentatively step forward and look around before approaching the chemistry set and beginning to just look for any particularly interesting chemicals. Make me an investigation check.
That will be a 12.
A lot of this is very foreign science to you. You're not exactly a chemist. But as you're just looking over, like looking for anything that might make this trip worth it to you, you hear the vault door close and a crunching sound behind you, as if someone's eating something.
Oh.
Turning around, you see a on the tall side male figure, seemingly human. His features are distinctly very foreign, although you can't place the ethnicity. Very naturally pale skin with dark black hair. And their black hair is distinctly offset by a thin, wispy gray goatee. The man has very wild looking eyes and is dressed in a blue hat and robe, very scholarly looking. And in his hands, you can see him just gently, almost patiently, as if he's entertained by you, eating some unidentifiable at a glance seeds out of a small bag.
Since he closed this door, I'm going to I'm gonna bring out my crossbow, pointed at him, and be like, "So why did you do that?"
He thinks for a second, kind of narrowing his eyes and looking up, and takes another handful of seeds and eats them before swallowing and giving a shrug. I find you entertaining. I have to say, setting the flower bed on fire is a creative solution I haven't seen tried yet.
Well, creative not. It was a problem, so I got rid of it. I hope you don't do the same problem.
He waves a hand dismissively. I have to give some credit where credit is due for creative solutions. I like creative thinkers. And he holds out a thin, bony hand to you. Christoph Reshkar, Shadow Lily Priest and Mage.
I guess you know what? I'm gonna introduce myself, be like Zephyr, but I don't think we're on a first name basis, so I should ask, why are you here?
This is my laboratory. And he gestures around to the various scientific equipment. The Queen has me produce things for her and her people. And in exchange, and he kind of shakes the bag of seeds.
And you have to do this in a vault.
He smiles, and you can see he has distinctly like buck teeth, like which kind of offsets the very intimidating traitorous advizier aesthetic he's got going. But as he smiles with his distinctly buck teeth, he shrugs and says, "You'd be surprised what people will do for chemicals. It's best I operate in secret." And he just takes another handful of seeds and crunches them.
Well, to be honest, I have no need for chemicals, but I was hoping for a good loot, but seeing as I was already here, I thought I might acquire something for my troubles.
He smiles and nods his head towards the now closed vault door and says, "Well, like I said, I like to reward creative thinking. I can offer you gold, or if you prefer, I can offer you something more valuable if you give me something in exchange."
Well, seeing as you've already closed the door, guess I have no choice but to listen.
The door being closed is a security measure. I doubt you want the guards swarming in here and throwing you in prison for life for knowing that I exist and for trying to rob the treasury.
Good, fair point. So, what is your proposition?
He holds out his hands in the air, almost as if a gesture of surrender. But you can see like arcane symbols just kind of popping off, almost as if through prestidigitation, into the air before disappearing. And he says, "I will let you play a game for one magic item of your choice. And in exchange, all I ask is that you owe me a favor."
What kind of favor?
I don't know yet. We'll have to see.
I guess Zephyr just thinks this over, and I guess I'm willing to be in a favor as long as that magic item is at least of some use.
He smiles and says, "Well, that's up to you." And he waves the hand in front of him. And you see, as he speaks, matching arcane symbols appear before floating towards you and starting to circle around you. Ring, tome, bowl, amulet, crown, serpent. You can pick one.
Confused by one of the things he says, but I guess most of these things I find no use. So I guess I'll take the ring.
He smiles, and the arcane symbol for the ring rotates around you before stopping, and it bursts into flames. And you hold out your hands as a small ring with a stone where a gem should be drops into your hand. And he claps his hands, wringing them together before smiling. Excellent choice. That should keep you a little safer while I call for your favor. You have 45 seconds before the guards arrive. The vault door swings open. Goodbye.
I guess like, I guess I'll be seeing you some other time, and he's gonna leave.
As you exit, the vault door slams shut behind you, and I presume you hurry out before the guards arrive.
But yeah.
As you run out the still somewhat smoke-filled building, you slink into an alleyway just as some guards, looking somewhat battle-torn, led by the fat, droopy warg, make their way back to the building and clamber inside to clear out the smoke. Looking down at your prize, you now have a ring of protection. It will grant you +1 to AC and +1 to saving throws, but you have to attune to it first.
So how do I attune to it?
Basically, just set aside an hour of either time during the day or before a long rest.
Well, I guess I put on said ring. Protection.
All right. It is an official item. You can find its abilities online.
I see it.
All right. So what do you want to do now that you've acquired something from your little trip?
You know, I guess I'll try to go and see how this. I'll check out what's going on with that fire.
All right, and you start to make your way towards the graveyard. Rewinding a bit, let's see what Lucian and Gil were up to. Lucian and Gil, the giant, the burning Tarbone looms before you. Its fire joining that of the temples. Smoke streams into the sky, forming an almost oppressive cloud of ash and smoke above you. I'm going to need the both of you to roll initiative.
Okay, let's do this.
Oh, not bad. I got a 21.
Nice.
14.
Okay. All right. You guys rolled well. Monster rolled poorly. You have an advantage. Lucian, you're up first. The burning Tarbone looms before you. This massive amalgamation of undead bodies held together with now ablaze tar. What would you like to do?
So she is not happy. She shoots a dirty look at Gil.
Gil, yeah.
Sorry, I forgot your name.
It's all good.
Shoots a dirty look at Gil, and she's like, "You really are an idiot." And she's going to cast create water, where the burning skeleton is.
All right. I'm not super familiar with the spell. Will that be an attack roll, or is it just an environmental effect?
It's an environmental effect. It says you create up to 10 gallons of clean water within range.
Okay.
Actively, the water falls as rain in a 30-foot cube within range, extinguishing exposed flames in the area.
Okay. Gil, you watch as Lucian waves a hand and rain begins to fall localized over the burning Tarbone. And the creature kind of shrieks as its tar begins to bubble as the flames flicker and sputter before extinguishing. It is now simply the Tarbone, no longer ablaze. Gil, you're up. Assuming, Lucian, that you don't have a bonus action?
No, I don't.
Okay. Gil, you're up.
So he's going to shake his head, like, show off. And then he's going to lunge forward with his great sword. And he's going to smack the thing, trying to cut it in half.
All right, make an attack roll.
18.
That is a hit. Roll for damage.
$12.
All right. You do a solid 12 damage. Let me note that down real quick. Okay. What type of damage is this? Slashing, I imagine. since you're
Slashing,
sword.
yeah.
Okay. So, Gil, you charge forward at the massive, no longer flaming beast and swing at it, and tar and chunks of rotting meat and bones scatter as you slice. The creature looks hurt, like by that. Definitely took some damage, but it's still well and kicking. And it looks down at you and reaches back with a large, gooey, bony fist to slam down on you. AC?
19.
That is a hit. As the fist makes contact with you, still the tar still hot and burning as it makes contact with you. You suffer 16 bludgeoning damage. As the fist reaches back and slams into Gil, scattering rotting flesh and still pretty hot to the touch tar. That was a pretty hard hit. Lucian, you are up again. Around you, the guards are still just fighting to keep the smaller undead contained in the tar pits before they can reach the town.
Okay, she is going to look. How far away are the other skeletons?
They're, for the most part, as the guards are deliberately fighting to keep them in the tar pits, they're still all contained in the surrounding tar pits.
Okay. Let me see about this thing that I can do. Okay. I'm sorry, I know nothing about this ability. I'm reading it.
Yeah, take your time.
Okay, so she's going to extend her hand towards the to all of the undead within her region, and she is going to, with her other hand, reach into her pocket and mutter a prayer, and try to cast Turn Undead.
Okay. So is that a saving throw or an attack roll?
You know what?
Saving throw.
I think it's a saving throw. Let me look.
It's all right. Everyone's getting used to classes and whatnot. DC?
I don't know.
Here, let me, I'll help you.
This is a new thing for me. I'd never play a light
Yeah, it's
play.
no worries. We're all getting used to things. No harm done. Okay. Turn undead.
Okay,
Hmm?
reach your thing. Okay, it must do a wisdom saving throw. If the creature fails its saving throw, it is turned for 1 minute or until it takes any damage.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So,
Uh,
let me figure out what my DC is.
yeah, it should be 8 plus your proficiency plus your wisdom modifier.
I think it's a 14.
All right. For the sake of brevity, since the other skeletons aren't really a threat to you as long as the guards keep them at bay, I'll be focusing on the Tarbone. Tarbone massively botches that saving throw, so he is turned.
So he has to run away from y'all.
Yes, it can't take reactions, and it can only use the dash action or try to escape if something prevents it from moving. And if it can't go anywhere, it'll take the dodge action.
She's gonna open her eyes hesitantly and then take a deep sigh of relief as she watches it try to get away from her.
All right. Gil, As Lucian casts their spell, you hear the Tarbone let out what you presume would be an almost zombie-like moan, but just it's drowned in the gurgle and bubbling of the tar, and you see it kind of sloshing backwards to try and get away from Lucian and by extension you. What would you like to do?
Well, after getting hit, my character, Gil's very mad.
Yeah,
So he's going to bonus action rage.
I would like to rage. All right.
And
You
you're
are
going to hear
raging.
this blood curdling scream come at him as he lets all of his fury out. And
Okay.
being the stupid barbarian he is, he's going to hit this thing again,
All right.
trying to knock it back into the tar.
All right. Well, to actually move it would be its own thing, but for flavor, yeah. So go ahead and make your roll.
Wait, how much damage did that big creature do to him?
16 bludgeoning, I believe.
I see.
Somewhere in that vicinity.
18.
Well, luckily I'm not
That's
there.
a hit.
That would have killed
That's
me.
a hit. Roll for damage.
That doesn't count. It rolled off the table.
Ah, there. I'm looking at the extension and
So that's 14.
All right. So as you take a Lucian, you watch as Gil takes a mighty swing at the Tarbone as it starts to curl back, and as pieces of it, as pieces of it go scattering into the tar pit next to them, you see it kind of shake its head, seeming to kind of come to its senses, riding itself back up to an aggressive stance.
You hear a ugh.
All right. The Tarbone kind of looks around, observing the situation, and you see it glare at you in particular, Lucian, before raising its arms above it. And Gil, you suddenly feel a sticky feeling under your feet, very hot and bubbly, and you both look down to see the tar rapidly spreading from its feet to consume the area around it. You don't take any damage, but it used the ability Tar Pit. The entire 30-foot area around it is now difficult terrain.
So this affects it too.
Lucian, you're up. So essentially just at your toes, because you're just kind of out of its reach. You see a large field of slightly still burning tar, with Gilge kind of struggling to pull his feet out from it.
Okay. So is this tar pit separating me from the monster?
Yes, you will have to cross 30 feet of a tar pit to get to melee range of it.
She's gonna look down at the tar pit and then up at the monster and give a little bit of a smile. And then she's gonna say, "You're gonna have to do better than that." And she's going to bonus action Misty Step to the other side.
Oh. All right. So, casting Misty Step on yourself, you step almost above the tar pit, your feet never quite making contact with the gooey substance that seeks to trap you. And from the sounds of it, you want to get to melee range of it.
Yeah, probably
All right.
not the best idea for me, but
Mhm.
okay,
All right. That's
You probably
and
won't
then
die, probably.
she is going to reach out and grab any part of this monster that she can get her hands on and cast inflict wounds.
all right. I believe that I want to say that's a saving throw or is it an attack roll?
It is an
Like,
attack.
All right, go ahead and roll for it.
She's like, I hope to the gods this will work. On me. 15 plus. What is it? 15, right? Yeah, it is. Plus 6. 15, 21.
That is a hit. Roll for damage.
3d10.
Okay. It's a 3d10, yeah.
I know how looked when it killed me, my other character. Very unpleasant. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah, it keeps track of all of our. It tells everyone our HP as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
See that I'm hurt with 7 out of 13. Bill's 11 out of 27, and Lucian's 21.
All right.
121.
And Lucian, how'd you do? Sorry.
I got a 21.
All right. Solid inflict wounds. So Gil, as you're like struggling to get out of the ankle deep field of tar, you see Lucian just delicately almost skipping across it, not slowed down in the slightest, before Lucian reaches out and makes hand contact with the creature's stomach. And Lucian, you kind of shudder almost, as even through the field of Misty Step, you can still just feel the tar just oozing around you. But you cast inflict wounds, and you both watch as the tar and flesh around the part where Lucian's hand is making contact bursts like a balloon, and the creature gives a gurgling moan as it like almost keels over and like holds a gooey hand to its stomach. Gil, you're up.
How far away is it from me again?
Oh, it's still easily within melee range. It had to use its turn to tar pit, so.
Okay, then he's gonna smack it again.
All right, roll for it.
Though he's actually going to use reckless attack.
Okay.
When you make your first attack on your turn, you can decide to attack recklessly, giving you advantage on melee weapon attack rolls
But enemies will also have advantage on you.
on their next turn.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Make that attack, my man.
So that's actually going to be an exact 18.
All right, that
with
is
my
a
+2 rage.
that is a hit. Roll for damage.
So that is 7 plus 4. That's 11 damage.
Okay. All right. As you slice into it once more, getting progressively more reckless and wild with your attacks, the Tarbone, like as you're basically gradually cutting through the outer layer of tar and flesh to see just the thick amalgamation of bones contained in the core of this beast. And as it looks between the two of you, just ripping it apart with magic and blade, with sword and sorcery. You see the glowing undead eyes almost narrow in a way, although that could easily just be the tar on its head getting a bit too heavy, and it reaches a hand into the still burning tar pit next to it and alights once again. And Gil, you and Lucian, how long does Misty Step last, Lucian?
It's actually a teleportation where I can teleport from where I was to where I wanted to be within 30 feet.
Oh, sorry, I'm not. I don't know the spell book by heart. From the, I thought from the sounds of it, it was just like freeing up. I may have been confusing it with freedom of movement. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So regardless, you as both of you sink into the tar, it begins to spread from the creature's arm, consuming its torso before consuming the field of tar around you. I'm going to need both of you to make me a dexterity saving throw.
Hey, I have an advantage on this.
Okay, where's my D20 there? Okay, don't fuck me. God damn it.
I got a 19.
I got a natural 2.
Okay.
Sorry, 18.
All right. Gil, you're good. Lucian, as the fire spreads from the creature's feet to the tar pit, it all kind of catches ablaze at once as just one continuous like puddle of tar. And Gil, already ready for this, just instinctively continue to move, the flames almost dancing around you as you expertly weave without getting hurt. Lucian, however, you're caught off guard both by Gil's reckless movements right next to you and by the sudden inflammation of the tar, as your leg catches fire already ankle deep and now burning tar. You take 8 fire damage. And the burning tarbone reaches up on its meaty, gooey fist to slam atop you. This probably won't hit, but just to be safe, Lucian AC.
16.
Okay, but as it brings its fist down, you manage to dodge out of the way, basically using Gil's still wildly moving body as like a support, as you kind of almost use him as like a point to parkour, getting your feet out of the burning tar as the creature slams down on it, and as its fist lifts up, you jump back off of him and ready to continue fighting. All right, Lucian, as your feet re-enter the burning tar.
Hey. She's gonna look at the monster and kind of eyeball it, and she's going to reach out her hand, and she is going to cast. What am I gonna cast here? Guiding bolt.
Ranged spell attack, correct?
Yeah, it's 120 feet.
Okay, but bear in mind, as a ranged spell attack, you will have disadvantage on this because you're at point blank.
So instead, can I do Sacred Flame since it
Uh,
also is radiant damage?
That's
Okay, so she's gonna do Sacred Flame
okay.
on it. So
Yeah.
I think, do I have to roll for that, or do no? You do because it's a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. Yep.
I'll roll.
I already know that doesn't make the DC. Go ahead and roll damage.
Yeah.
Does Guiding Bolt have
7. I
disadvantage?
almost rolled an 8. It was a journey. It's a 7 radiant damage. Dobby, stop it. Sorry.
Okay. You hold out your hand, and the tarbone bursts into a radiant, glowing flame. But you see a gooey, almost reduced to bone now hand claw into the burning tar pit. It's still alive, but just barely. Gil.
So is it prone?
No, that's all just flavor. It's very heavily damaged, but still able to fight.
Okay, then I'm going to smack it again.
All right, roll for it.
That was a natural 20.
How do you want to do this?
Yes.
I'm going to just like do an overhand cut, basically going straight down the middle.
No, you can't.
All right. So you bring down your mighty blade, carving through bone and burning, boiling tar and rotting meat, and half of the creature, the sloshing flesh and boiling tar, slide into the pit that it had emerged from, while the bones clatter, just re-dead to the into the burning tar pit beyond the pit it had emerged from. I'm going to need both. You have slain the tarbone, but both of you still need to make me a dexterity saving throw as you're still in the burning tar pit.
This did not go well for me last time. That's better.
12.
Lucian?
I got a 17. Sorry, my dog.
Yeah,
just-
that's all good. We're all dealing with interruptions. All right. As the Tarbone falls dead, or dead again, both of you manage to pull yourselves out of the burning tar pit without sustaining further burn damage. As the tar begins to almost dissipate, the flames flickering before dying out along with it. You see the various skeletons are being successfully repelled by the guards, slumping in piles of sliced and bludgeoned bones back into the pits they had emerged from. And you hear a booming bark behind you of a seemingly panicked warg, and you see the reptilian captain of the patrol waving off a couple guards to go follow it back to where it had come from.
And immediately, Gil's gonna go, Zephyr.
Shouldn't we worry about the other skeletons?
Yeah, and Gil's gonna go help the guards finish off the last of the skeletons.
All right. Lucian, do you want to participate in this as well?
Yeah.
Okay. For the sake of brevity, because they're skeletons and you have them pretty well outnumbered and outgunned, through the use of sword play and cantrips, Zephyr, you arrive at the graveyard to see a fire still raging in the distance, smoke clouding the air. You see the slain Tarbone, and Lucian and Zephyr pelting the remaining skeletons in the tar pits with blade work and magic.
Once I'm done, I'm going to go where the fire is, and I'm going to use my last spell slot to create water again and try to put the fire out with create water.
Okay. Zephyr and Gil, do you want to follow?
Nah, I'm gonna start cleaning my sword.
All right. So Gil, you take a knee as the guards begin to congratulate each other, and you all on job well done. As Zephyr, you see Lucian running off to the still raging fire in the distance.
I guess I'll follow one.
All right, Lucian, you head in the direction that you remember the temple being, with Zephyr hot on your heels, as he had been whenever you came to the graveyard to begin with. And you start readying the create water spell, and as you go to cast it, it fizzles at your fingertips as you take in the sight before you. The temple is collapsed, with only one wall still remaining, the back wall. You can see priests and bishops saving worshippers who had been caught in the fire, getting them out of the rubble and escorting them to safety as they look around panicked as if expecting an attack. But that's not the thing that makes you the most upset. You see the remaining wall still erected and managing to withstand the ash and fire that has charred it black, which makes the fire still raging on it burn brighter as the fire spells out against the remaining wall. Found you. And that's where we're going to pick up next week.
What was even an hour?
Oh my god.
Wow.
I'm literally crying right now.
Wow.
I hope you guys had fun. That felt a lot longer than it was, like, because I was keeping an eye on the time. I usually try to keep it like in the hour and a half vicinity, but I guess we may have started a bit later than I thought.
Only just a little bit later, not by much. Yeah, we enjoyed it, and
This is never
heart
long
really
enough.
sunk into my stomach.
But yeah, this is not never long enough for the whole week. We have to wait and wait and wait.
It's like watching anime.
Hey, that is the highest compliment I could possibly receive. And a little thing I picked up from the other D&D group I've streamed with. Do any of you have any just kind of niceties you want to exchange with each other? The other group I play with likes to encourage the players to compliment each other on moments or performances they enjoyed.
I honestly was really, really happy that Zephyr picked all the locks and rearranged. Just, I was like,
Rearrange the
somewhere
chest
in the
piece.
world, Melody is cackling.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was like, the more disastrous the heist started going, the more I really wanted you to get away with it.
It's like, yeah.
All right,
was-
so
I'm just glad he didn't die.
Oh yeah. So how much work did you put into remaking all the fire creature? And now there was fire creature only to be him extinguished.
well, luckily I already have the stats for it regular, but I had to do some slight reconfiguration for it burning. But I decided to work it into the fight when it was on its last legs to see if it couldn't finish you guys off with some fire damage.
To be honest,
Nope.
I have been thinking about it all week, and I was like, how can I get it to stop being on fire? And then I remembered I had an extra spell slot, and I was like, create water.
Create water.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm so glad you guys had fun. If you feel like the relatively short length is actually hurting it, I can start. I just genuinely thought we had been going for longer than we had been. Not that I wasn't having fun, just like the times I had in my head must not have matched up.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like more time, but I don't want to push you or anything. Like whatever you're comfortable with.
We always want more time, but if it's too much, we get it.
Well, because like on this one, for example, I actually did have a little bit ready, but like I looked at the clock and I was like, oh, like if I remember correctly, we've been playing for about an hour and a half now, so this might be a good cliffhanger to end on.
Oh no, cliffhangers
Sorry, my
suck.
heart is in my stomach, Matt.
Based off on
already feel
recording time,
nauseous,
it's an
so-
hour and 2 minutes. Start the recording.
Yeah, so don't worry, I am already setting the groundwork to make the sessions longer. I just need to, it helps to like have a clear idea of like what you guys are at least intending to do to minimize the amount of
2,
like
3,
asshole
4
improv.
hours would be great.
No, unfortunately, 3 hours is arguably my maximum. That's usually what I go for with
3 hours. I can make do with 3 hours.
make do.
I know one of my sessions I do 4. Quite nice.
I mean, I'm just more like go with the flow of whatever feels right, you know? Like
No, yeah, that's what I usually do. I'm just apologizing since this one was a little bit shorter than I normally do.
And hence why when she cast Turn Undead, my character, still being the barbarian he is, still smacked it.
So much.
I cannot express how much Lucian hates Gil.
I feel like here's what's gonna happen. Y'all are gonna hate each other, and then y'all are gonna be okay with me, or maybe
Zephyr will be the glue that ties the party together.
Especially once he dies, then we'll really make glue out of him. Or
wow,
I was gonna say,
unnecessary.
Oh.
Yeah,
Or
Lucian.
you know what I was
Lucian's
gonna do?
use
I
of
might
spells.
skin him.
Yeah, Lucian's use of spells here was fantastic. You got very creative and clever with them. Gil, you played the part of the barbarian excellently. You freaking tore through that monster. How are you doing on health by the end?
He's got 11.
I still have 11 health left.
So yeah, he may have actually taken you out if he hadn't started prioritizing Lucian for fucking obliterating him with inflict wounds.
At the end, Gil has 11. Lucian has 13. I have 7. That plant monster.
So yeah, you guys are a little worse for wear. And I will say, by the way, Zephyr, I wanted to wait till the session was over to reveal this. The actual solution, like basically the planned solution, you just didn't like really like. Basically, if you had made a perception check to look around once you were inside, you would have noticed the keys to the vault. One of them was in the bird's cage. One of them was around the warg's neck.
Oh. I like my solution.
Yeah, no, your solution worked. Just like, yeah. So,
Yeah, I have to admit, I am worried about this deal he's made with Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah,
I know, I
so
was like, fucking
let's review
How was
before we
he?
end the stream. Zephyr, you now owe a mysterious favor to someone who works for the Shadow Lily Confederation, but clearly has, at least he thinks he has, the freedom to distribute magic items willy-nilly with a fondness for illusions and games. Lucian, the person you're so afraid of appears to have found you. And Gil, you're still no closer to your objective, but you got a good fight in.
Yeah, so he's
Me and him are together. Dude.
he's gonna be going to the brothel soon after this.
Oh, okay.
All right, back to the dizzying
Lucian's hate
kaleidoscope.
factor just doubled.
So that is where we'll pick up next week. I will try to start making these sessions longer once I have a good idea of what the party's planning to do next. Again, I had stuff planned for this. I just thought the session had already gone on for a while. I just saw the time incorrectly. But so I will do everything I can to make future sessions longer now that I have a good idea of what I can expect from you guys. So with that said, we will see all of you watching next week.